Yeah.
All right, welcome to 1PS, the May meeting. Mr. Bernstein, may sit down. I would like to call the meeting to order, and you all collect yourselves in the back of the room. And we have something new. Looks like it's dated for this meeting to help you to sign into the meeting. It's on the screen. You've got a little handout. We just ask that you please do that. Otherwise, we have to have a clipboard at the front door and you'll have to stand in line. And remember those days? No, we don't want to do that again. So thank you for checking in with Slido. All right, we'd like to get a motion to approve this agenda, please.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any opposition? Thank you. All right, move on to the approval of the minutes of the April 1PS meeting. Can you get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Thank you. All right. Who is new tonight? I see, there you are. What neighborhood?
Chocolate Creek Golf Course.
Thank you for coming. Any other new folks visiting us? Pardon?
Chris.
Oh, I know. Yes, ma'am.
New.
New, what neighborhood?
Oasis.
Oh, I see your name tag. Nice. We'll have to have a, right, there you go. We're gonna have to have a blade sign competition, maybe. You should wear your t-shirt. All right, thank you for coming, and do come again. And as we attended a lot of annual meetings this year, we're inviting everybody to come so we can get a bigger room. Yes, Mr. Mayor?
I'm just coming up ahead of time because I saw he sat in the front row.
No, I'm already
All
here.
right. Oh, I get it. We have a chair over there for you. All right. Okay, this is fun. Who's on first and council? Very good. All right. One thing fell off the agenda. Always something falls off. Any issues confronting neighborhoods that anybody wants to bring up that we don't know about? Carlene, you had something.
Yeah, hang on just a second. Idle here. It's not really a concern. I just wanted to thank our police department. It is National Police Week. And I really appreciate you guys. You're always there when we need you, no matter what it is. A simple phone call, an email, they're very responsive.
Thank you. Any other? Yes, ma'am. Denise.
If we're giving, I want to thank the Palm Springs Fire Department, I want to thank the City of Palm Springs, the mayor, and I want to thank the city manager because they have cleared all this nasty brush in Little Tuscany and the Crescendo lot, and it has made us feel a lot safer. And some of the neighbors are now getting into it, and they're clearing their lots too to make sure for fire safety. So I want to thank you so much for coming and doing this.
All right. Chief, you put that plan in
We
action.
love you, little Tuscany. Yeah, that's.
No, thank you for putting your plan into action. That's very good. All right, appreciate that. Well, speaking of safety along the mountainside, apparently it is rattlesnake season, and we have one in the room. And I'm going to move to the other side of the room. So Dr. David Jeffrey and Cosmo, let's hear it for Cosmo.
Don't worry, Cosmo isn't a rattlesnake. He does a pretty good impression. Actually, it's pretty poor. I'm Dr. Jeffrey. I've been practicing in the desert for about 10 years now, in La Quinta and now in Palm Desert. It's rattlesnake season. I'm sure all of you guys are aware. I'm glad you're clearing up brush. That's a great place for rattlesnakes to go. It's good to be aware around here. I have a background in venomous snakes from Australia. I was a venomous snake keeper out here. I'm one of the few idiots that actually treats them if they get sick. Someone has to. If you guys come across a rattlesnake in your yard, anywhere where the public could be at risk, there are a lot of volunteers in the valley, including myself, that will come out and safely relocate that snake. They're an important part of our local ecosystems, a keystone species. They actually keep us protected from rodent-borne illnesses, which kill millions. Rattlesnakes kill about 5 Americans every year, usually someone that didn't seek immediate health care. Okay, so if you do get bitten, straight to the hospital. Don't take Benadryl, it doesn't do anything for snake bites. Okay, that's a myth. If your pets get bitten, go to the nearest hospital that has anti-venom. We do stock it at El Paseo. There's a couple other hospitals around that do. I don't have a definitive list. Get rid of clutter, brush, everything like that around your property. Try and get rid of rodents. Okay, that's what I'll be hanging around, guys. I have business cards. Again, please call if you see a rattlesnake. I'm happy to read it for you.
Good name.
When is rattlesnake season?
I mean, around here in the desert, you can run into them year-round, but the main seasons are spring and fall. Okay, so babies and babies.
Thank you, Councilman. Question?
Who do you call to relocate a snake?
My hospital, I have business cards. You can call El Paseo Animal Hospital. There are other volunteer snake relocators in the valley. Animal control in a pinch, although some of them don't really like dealing with rattlesnakes. So again, we're happy to. The volunteers are all trained on how to do it. And we do relocate them safely somewhere where they're going to live happily. Okay.
Okay. There's a question over here, I think.
It was the same question. Where? Who called?
Well, thank you both. Our children today to see the and another quick announcement. Our friends from the library are here to present. Come on up. Some exciting developments at the library.
This isn't a snake or anything, right? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ed McBride. I am on the Library Foundation, and I actually am co-chair of the campaign for fundraising for the new library renovation. And I think back on the 9th of this month, you may have received an email from the foundation, I hope you did, sharing with you some of our vision and, more importantly, inviting you to some tours of the library. I hope that you've been to the library soon, so there's probably not a whole lot you're going to see of the existing library, but what we wanted to share with you is we have our renderings up, and we want to give you a tour to show you of what it's going to look like in 2 or 3 years. And it's a great tour. It shows you how we're going to transform that facility and meet our current needs in the city. So I'm one of the docents. I'm also a librarian, so I'm happy to give you a tour of the library and answer questions and share with you the work that we're doing at the Library Foundation, along with the friends and the trustees. So all 3 groups are really focusing now on getting us through this renovation. You'll notice in the email, we've given you some options for some tours. We're kind of on a limited time. I wish we had more time, maybe. But as you may know, the library will be closing in July at its current location, and we'll prepare to move to a temporary location. So we want to get it done before then because we want it to be a huge surprise. So when you come back in 3 years, you'll go, wow, it really is a dream come true for us. So again, if you, the dates start like on May 29th, actually that's next week, June 3rd, the 9th, the 16th, I'll give you one of these, Chris. The 23rd of June, 1st of July, 9th of July, up to the 15th of July. And I will tell you, if it's overwhelming and we have a lot of people who want to come in, we'll find some time to get you in there. But those are the times that we've worked out with library staff because it still is open and we still have users coming in. So we want to get you in there and have you see the library. So, question? Yes, ma'am.
Has there been more discussion on how you're going to handle the temporary access to books during this time period?
Yes, as a matter of fact, the library director is in the final stages of making those plans because she can't really decide what's going to go into the temporary location until she knows where that temporary location is going to be. They're in final negotiations and how much space she's got. And then they'll make some decisions. Clearly, they're going to keep the more popular part of the collection as available as possible. And some of it will have to go in storage for a few years. But they also have a lot of ebooks, so they'll be offering electronic access. And the other thing they'll have is they're part of a large network. If you have something you just got to get your hands on, they can always borrow that from another library for you. Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you.
3 years?
2 to 3 years, possibly. I mean, you know, with what's going on in our world right now and what we have to get through, we don't know, but we're hoping it's 2 years. but I don't think we're making any kind of promises around that. So it's out to bid right now. I think I can say that. That's a public knowledge, right? So we're fingers are crossed, everything's gonna come in the way we want. And by the way, you may know that there was over 1,800 citizens who had input into this redesign. So it really does represent our community and the things that we want in a library. So I'm really excited about that. Yes, ma'am.
Could you repeat when the tours are?
Yeah.
A little more slowly?
May 29th at noon, June 3rd at 5:30, June 9th at 9 a.m., June 16th at 9 a.m., June 23rd, 9 a.m., July 1, 9 a.m., July 9th, 5 p.m., and July 15th, 5 p.m. So we try to get them so that anybody, can attend and working or whatever.
Go on the library website.
You should have gotten, I've got a copy of the memo that went out from everybody. If you didn't get it, is it okay if they let you know, Chris, if you just, yeah, and they'll reach out to God, get it to you. Is that okay? Yeah. Again, thank you guys for having me. Yes, ma'am.
Would it be okay if I'm gonna be sending my newsletter out this week? Would it be okay to put that information in there?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know I have that from you already, so.
Did you have the memo,
Yeah,
the email?
I got the
Okay.
memo.
Okay, good.
You have a question, sir?
Yeah, is the tour only available to the members of the boards of these organizations, or is it open to the public?
The instructions are to ask your members who wants to attend, give us a list, email back. Now, there could be space allotment, just be prepared. But actually, you find out who wants to attend from your neighborhoods and sign them up. We want them to come see it. Yeah. Answer one more question. Joe? Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right, moving along. So the city manager tells me it's budget season. So we have a budget for you tonight. That's a strange connection, but I had to say it because I know what you're going through. So the 1PS annual budget, I'll do something. Fiscal year is July 1st. So why so early? Well, we have to give you 30 days to look it over, ask questions, come back at the June meeting and say, yeah, we approve, or wait, what's going on? And then once it's approved in June, then effective July 1st, we have a budget for the organization. So you have it in front of you. It's online as well. We won't do questions and so forth tonight, but take it, digest it, enjoy it. You can call me independently if you want, ask questions. We just need to have, it's one of the few things we have to get everyone to vote on every year. So we'll take this up in June, and thank you for doing your homework. And there are no surprises in it, so I'll just tell you that. It's going to be pretty boring. All right. I'm going to move to the middle, in whichever one I think about.
All right.
I'm Spry. I'm short and I'm proud. Okay, so do you want to go first, seriously?
No, I'll let you have it. I'll let you have it.
Okay. You are the mayor, so you do get priority. So. We are in budget season, so one of the things, and I know the mayor talked about it last time we had our visioning session, and if you look at what we're doing from a city, we're really using the visioning session that City Council did in April, and you can see that on the April 9th council agenda, to determine what are the priorities for the next year. And it's both about general ones, economic development, public safety, but also very specific ones, the airport, convention center, and deferred maintenance. So you'll see all of that is what's really going into the budget season. We are moving very cautiously forward. We are anticipating we'll be okay for the next year, but there could be a deficit in 2 years, depending on what kind of grants we get. So we were fortunate that we really staffed up a few years ago. So we're pretty much, fully staffed. We have a few other positions coming on that we'll want to do for public safety mainly. But we're remaining cautiously optimistic for the year ahead in terms of our revenue. So we're going to have a number of different sessions. We have a council meeting this week. Then Measure J makes recommendations on Thursday. We have a joint Measure J City Council budget study session next week. And then in June, we have to finalize the budget by the end of June. So you'll see all that coming up. The South Palm Canyon Bridge project, this is the one that got delayed 60 days. We have scheduled 2 community meetings coming up. This is the one that the residents of down by Bellardo are concerned about public safety, and it's by Oswit, and they're concerned about the environmental friendly. So May 29th at 5:30 at Indian Canyon Clubhouse is the first meeting, and the second meeting is June 2nd at 5:30 via Zoom. And then hopefully come back to council to make a decision on South Palm Canyon Bridge project. We also passed last time, City Council to put the Juneteenth flag at all the city buildings this year. So it'll be Juneteenth, which is Thursday through the Monday. So that will be happening. We also had the orchid tree come back again. I will say that this time we have, sort of held their feet to the fire on this. They have to get their full planning application by August of this year, August 23rd. And then we have full entitlements by April 26th, but I think there's an interim period where they're going to have 50% construction drawings. And there's a whole list of deadlines going on to where they'll have a building permit by June 27, completed by 2029. At each stage, if they miss a deadline, the default is to lose their TOT incentive, which is really what's been driving them along, and they have to come back to council to plead their case if there was some other reason. And before they start building, they'll have a completion bond. So this is where we're at. Hopefully this time it's for real. We did see the Thompson actually finally open, so maybe they can prove us wrong. And if it doesn't happen, it could be a great property. This is the orchid tree over by Barista. Also on council this week, I will mention in our consent calendar is thanks to Danny DeSelms, is our emergency operations plan. This is 100-page, I don't know if anyone else can talk about it, but 100-page document about our plans for an emergency in the city. It's really a great document. It'll be on Engage Palm Springs. And it's very thorough and just excellent. And we have seen before the benefits of being prepared and acting quickly in our city, whether it was the pandemic, whether it was a hurricane. So it's worth mentioning in that. And it has everything in that. I will mention there's also a delinquent waste disposal fees, which sounds people haven't paid their waste disposal for Palm Springs disposal. If you don't pay your fees, you get to goes to the county and get a lien on your property. So the list is online. I would look. Some people don't realize they haven't paid. There's a bunch of businesses on there that probably don't realize they haven't paid. So take a look before you get that tax lien. We are also, there's an appeal of the Planning Commission. There was a business that wanted to put a paint store on Palm Canyon and Stevens. Planning Commission denied it, that it didn't keep with the neighborhood and being residential. They've appealed that to come back to council. It will be a Sherwin-Williams store. It's across from where the Aloe will be. The Aloe, by the way, the Aloe Palm Canyon, has had a June opening date. This is affordable senior housing that's right in Palm Canyon and Stevens as well. As I mentioned, on the 22nd is a joint meeting with Measure J and City Council, and that's to go over the recommendations for the Measure J, the overall budget, and their community-initiated projects. This year they had $6 million in projects, and that was it's $1 million a year, but they built it up over 6 years, so there's a whole host that they'll be recommending to council. What's it? They're going to have their meeting to finalize their recommendations on this Thursday, and then the joint meeting with council is on the 22nd to go over that. By ordinance, we can't actually adopt our budget until we get the recommendations. We don't have to take them, but we have to have those recommendations from Measure J. We're also, I know we talked about the library, we're going to be discussing coming up soon is our library bond that we're going to have to put out potentially to finance the library. Just one other thing that Ed didn't mention, we have the Wellwood downtown, we have some other community centers, so one of the ideas is how can we help use those facilities while we have this temporary library somewhere to make it more accessible to the community. So they'll be looking at a lot of other things during that project. We are also coming back on the 28th is the Picasso co-owned housing. There was a couple of things in last year when we passed the ordinance allowing the limited number of 25, some rules and regulations to align with vacation rentals, and that will be coming back to council. And then we have a convention center RFP for potentially a new management company of the convention center. So that will come in May. And then, as I mentioned, the June board, we're going to have our board and commission interviews that'll be going on. I guess the mayor and the mayor pro tem do a bunch of them, and then a few of them do all of council, and that will come up and all be decided by July. And then in June, we actually have a dinner with all the commissioners to present their vision for the year and what their accomplishments are. Just a couple more things. We have in June coming up at Short Fest, so tickets and passes I think have gone on sale. That's the 24th to the 30th. I am working with a group, the mayor and I, as part of our economic development. There's a different, tech has been a big focus. June 23rd, we are finalizing now a tech AI learning upskilling event at the convention center to the public, and how to use AI for businesses or for personal use and understand tech and understand the ramifications. So that should be finalized shortly. And lastly, our Sister City Committee, everybody should know our Sister City is San Miguel. There is a delegation that will be going from the mayor in June to San Miguel. And there's a couple of really kind of interesting things. Some of this is tourism, some of it is business, but two really, really nice aspects. We've been having an exchange program between our Vista Del Monte elementary school students, which is a dual language immersion, and a elementary school in San Miguel. And they've been working on art projects where they each work on art projects. They present them to the other class via Zoom. Both of the schools are dual language, so they're doing them in English and Spanish. So they're going to be able to present back and forth. I think some of the school district people will be going down to San Miguel as well. Another thing that was interesting is when we had the Palm Springs Food and Wine Festival last fall, there was a bunch of restaurants from San Miguel that came and they needed to use a kitchen. They ended up finding a kitchen at COD. The head of the Culinary Institute said, well, my students can help you prep for this Food and Wine Festival. So the chefs from San Miguel said, spent the day with them and then invited them to go serve with them at the Food and Wine Festival. And then we're so impressed, they invited them down to San Miguel. So these students from College of the Desert will be going down to, as part of the college program, to San Miguel to work in some of the restaurants. And there's a Food and Wine Festival there, and to get that opportunity, which is pretty amazing for the kids. So the delegation, there's a lot of people going on the delegation.
It's a stupid question, because I lived in Mexico. Are you talking about San Miguel de Allende?
Yes.
Do you know that there's graduates of Palm Springs High School that live in San Miguel?
There is a very large expat population in San Miguel. I think it's 40% expats.
Well,
and
the whole town is expat.
So one of the things which is interesting is because it's not necessarily tourists will come from San Miguel here, but there is this cultural exchange, and there are a lot of expats in San Miguel from other places, Florida and Texas, who may come here as well. So it's one of these really nice cultural exchanges, but the educational is really a very interesting part of it.
Well, most of it is because of art and
Yeah. Yeah, so this is what we're really focusing on, all the art, culinary, and there are actually a lot of business stuff too. Like they have a very vibrant small hotel business. In our business, the small hotels and vacation rentals and large hotels all work hand in hand. They are just learning about how that could work because they see it as all competition. And so there's a lot of interesting businesses. We have some restaurant people going down. We have city staff going down. We have the educators going down. I think Chief Mills is going down. So there's a lot of exchange that will be going on. So.
How about the Dream Hotel?
The Dream Hotel is still on track. They have met their deadline so far, right, Scott? Wayne?
I'll be touching base on that on my presentation.
He'll be touching base on that in his presentation. Yeah, they are
That
still.
didn't sound like a yes.
That did not sound like a yes, but it's still there, it's still going. It's not abandoned. And I think they are committed, I really do. So that's it, any questions? Yes?
Yes, regarding the historic rugby club property that was at one point, yeah, I know. And so now it's back on the market. Is there a matrix of process and policy developed as to when it is determined that it should be demolition by neglect? I know that's been part of the conversation, but I really want to know where things are or where they're going to go and what to expect.
Yeah, as I mentioned, there was a group that was very, very close. Wayne, I assume that's all off now?
No, actually, I just emailed what was going to be the buyer from Wayne Olson, the Chief Economic Development Officer for the city. Just spoke with Fulch Sanchez, who's a group out of LA, who was negotiating with the seller. I just emailed with him last week. He says he's still pushing to close. They're still gathering their funds, but apparently they're still engaged with the seller. So it's not all the way dead. We were hoping they would close at the end of December.
August last year.
Yeah, August, but some of their funding got distracted. And
it's actually, if their project happens, it is a great project for this, because it's very respectful of the historic, but understanding that you need to do something new to make it a viable business. So it's still in the works.
You realize it's been put back on the market for more than double what it was.
Yes, yes. So, the owner often plays a little bit of games with this, in my view. A part of it is not necessarily the owner, it's the real estate broker who's hedging their bets. So we are hopeful that if this group comes together, and I know Wayne and I and city manager, I don't know if you met with them, Mayor, but they're very viable, good people. It's just, and they seem to have some funding, and maybe it fell through, but they seem to have a really good concept and view of what could happen there. That would be great for the neighborhood and great for the city.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Continuing to deal with that.
We're pushing. And lastly, my community meeting will be June 9th at Mr. Del Monte Elementary School at 5:30. I asked you to go first.
Thank you all for coming to the Jeffrey Bernstein Hour. The council member did a great job covering the wide variety of things that are happening in the city, which is very exciting. And I just want to touch base and for a second on, let's keep in mind that we've got $3.2 billion worth of civic, municipal, infrastructure projects, commercial projects slated to be happening in the city of Palm Springs. We're asking a monumental task of our city employees to accomplish these projects. On top of 70 some odd capital improvement projects, and on top of the thousands of daily tasks that have to be accomplished every single day to keep our city running. So it's a challenge. And we know, you all know what's happening in the market today. We watch the news, we see something different from the administration almost on a daily basis. We don't know what's coming tomorrow. We don't know how the market is going to react tomorrow. We don't know how tourism is going to be impacted next season. So we've got to go forward, and in the budget planning process, we have to be prepared for that unknown. And I just want to verbalize it so we're aware, and when the hurt comes, as the budget is prepared, we all understand and we're prepared to cope with what's coming down the road. And that our city will survive, we will continue to thrive, and we will be a place where tourism is going to continue to fuel our economy. Just may not be the Canadians, may not be some of the international folks coming in, but we will continue to be that city that attracts the domestic market to come to Palm Springs. So with that, we're going into the budget. We've been working on the budget planning process. It's going to happen, seems like it's going to happen very fast. Staff would wish that it happened that fast, but a lot of work and energy is going into this process. And when it comes to council and public, there's a lot to go through very quickly. And we'll do that very quickly, and we'll have a good, solid plan to go forward for the next 2 years. But it's not all going to be roses. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
A little sobriety for our meeting. Thank you, Mayor. All right. I'd like to invite Mr. Olson back to the stage.
Oh.
No, Scott, sorry. Scott, I thought you were beat up, so.
Okay. So, as many of you know, the Desert Aid Project Health Equity Walk was canceled. I'm gonna mention that.
So the Desert Aid Project, DAP Health has canceled their walk this year. However, we are going to have, thanks to the head of Palm Springs, Greater Palm Springs Pride, a Pride Equality Walk on October 25th, starting at Arenas at 8:30 a.m. It'll be great because that's also right at the end of when the International Gay and Lesbian Travel Association is here. And so we as a city continue to maintain our commitment to diversity and equality. So it was announced today. We can look for more information on the website, I think, but you'll see the press releases out, and the city put one out today. So thanks to the mayor for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple of things I wanted to bring up. We are in the middle of budget season. It's not all doom and gloom, but we will have a lot of good things in the budget, but we will have some challenges, as the mayor indicated. And by the way, not kind of cozying up and trying to play too nice to one of my bosses, but really compliments to Mayor DeHart and the Pride organization. I don't know if any of you got a chance to go to the Harvey Milk Awards breakfast last week. I think you had your largest turnout, 1,200 people showed up at the convention center. Yeah, it was fantastic. And all the students and the kids that are there that are recognized, it's really very, very impressive if you get a chance to go. I wanted to bring it up because I had the pleasure of sitting next to the woman that won the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Mm-hmm.
Her name was Holly Neer.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people should know her. After the terrible assassination of George Moscone and Harvey Milk, she and friends were on their way down to San Francisco, and she wrote the anthem Singing for Our Lives, I think. And it was really just a wonderful experience sitting next to her and talking to her. And honestly, I didn't know everything about her life story, and I've since read more about it. And what she just sitting next to her is one of those people where the energy and the spirit, and I don't even know how to explain it. It was just very, very cool. Talking about the library, and I am excited about what's going to be happening with the library. I'm also excited because Jean E.K., our director, she's been through this before in trying to do a renovation. So I know she's thinking through all of the relocation stuff that has to happen. How do you keep a pop-up library operation open and so people can still get some services while we're doing this major renovation of the library? So good for her. On the budget, I'll just say, just very quickly, our budget is presented to council in kind of three parts. There's the general fund budget, which is all of our police, fire, parks and rec, library, all the offices in City Hall, all of that. That's the general fund budget. Then we have our capital budget, which is all of our capital projects that we're doing, water, sewer, roads, construction sort of stuff. So we'll present that capital budget, and then we'll present the airport budget. All three of them, all three parts are part of our city budget. The airport's what we call an enterprise agency. So all the revenue that comes into the airport by state law has to stay in the airport. So I can't take any of the airport revenue that's coming in to pay for cops or firefighters or anybody else's salary. So that's why it's called an enterprise agency. So we'll go over all of that with the city council at our study session. We won't approve anything that night. We'll have more budget presentations at both of our council meetings likely in June. And by state law, we do have to have a balanced budget approved no later than July 1st. So we'll be presenting a 2-year budget like we did 2 years ago, and we'll be moving forward. I will say, just very, very briefly, a lot of good projects we still have on the books moving forward. Library renovation, pickleball courts, making sure the Plaza Theater gets done, a facility, a new fire station that you've heard me talk about downtown, renovations of some other facilities, a swim center stuff that Measure J has approved. So we got a lot of stuff in the works. So that's all good. What we have to be very cautious about, in my opinion at this point, the mayor referenced it, we're a big tourism city. How does our tourism outlook look for the next couple of years? Are we going to see all the international visitors coming here that we have seen in the past? Instead, are we going to see more local people from LA, Orange County, San Diego County, Seattle, other places coming here instead to make up some of the kind of the slack? We don't know for sure, and we'll be keeping a close eye and watching that, because when tourism suffers, the city suffers because we lose revenue. It makes it harder for me to provide services to everybody, to all the high level of services that we're used to having. So we're all kind of connected in this boat together, and it's really important. Our navigation center is almost fully staffed almost every night now. I think you will agree with me. We're seeing fewer homeless people than we have 2.5 years ago. That's a wonderful thing. People are in better situations. They're not out in the elements. It's making it easier for our police and firefighters. But the navigation center costs us almost $5 million a year to operate. So what we have to do, we're going to be very aggressive trying to find grants from the county, from the state, from the feds, because every grant we get that helps us with our operating costs, that frees up money for me to do more recreation programs, to do more parks programs, to fix things up. So we have to really think about that. Our revenue is holding fairly steady, but 2 years ago we added a bunch of staff positions so we could make a lot of services happen. We have to pay attention to our head count of the number of employees we have. And I think we're going to be having some honest conversations with all of my department directors about, can we fill every single position that we might think we need to fill in the coming year? And that's maybe where some of the difficulty is that you've heard from the mayor and the council member about that. So those are just kind of conversations that we're in the process of having. So not all bad, but just I call it trying to advance in a time of great uncertainty. And so that's kind of my mentality going into what I'm going to be presenting to my 5 bosses. We're hoping, because of some of the work we've done, that the county is going to come out with their point in time count in the next couple of weeks. Every 2 years, they have to count all the number of homeless people in every city in Riverside County. We feel like our numbers have gone down significantly, but we'll learn just like everybody else when that report comes out about what the count looked like when we all went out there and surveyed and went around the community and looked at different areas and tried to figure out how many homeless people we actually do have in our community. And the other thing is, with all these, my gosh, it's just driving me crazy when I look at some of the construction costs that are going on. And, like I said, some of these big projects that we have to talk about. I think we're going to have to be very disciplined about how much we can spend on some of these projects. So for example, if we set aside, the council very generously set aside $6 million for our new pickleball complex. If bids come in wildly over cost, $7 million, hey, we can't just throw extra money at this. We have to figure out how we can build what we have for that $6 million. Same with the library, same with the fire station, same with all that. It's going to require some discipline for all of us to figure out how we do that. So it's going to be a big focus of mine in the coming years, in the coming year. So, so that's it. I wanted to talk a little bit about budget. I did have a couple things that I will leave with your fearless leaders up here.
Hey, we ran from the snake, okay?
Yeah. The city is recruiting for somebody, for a member or two to serve on the Building Code Board of Appeals. And you can go to our website to see if you have some interest in building code stuff. I've got the website. You can go to the city's website and see how to apply for that. Summer is approaching us. There's a whole bunch of news information Denise has shared with me and SCE has shared with me about how you can reduce your summer energy bills and maybe be eligible for some energy credits. You can go to sce.com/SEP for summer energy. I'll leave that with them. You can make note of that. I think maybe the council member talked about this Friday in Victoria Park is Movies in Park. So please note that if you're interested. I'll leave all this with you. On Saturday is Kids to the Parks Day in Sunrise Park from 9 a.m. to noon. The movie on Friday night is from 7 to 9 p.m. I promised Brett, who's one of our avid cyclists, that I would announce, and I don't know if Jeffrey or Ron, if you mentioned this, we have our Ride of Silence coming up on May 21st, 6:29 p.m.
It's the one thing he forgot to say.
So that's going to begin at Ruth Hardy Park on May 21st. I know a lot of people here have participated in the Ride of Silence. Just a couple more things. I know the public library is going to be closed on Monday, May 26th, Memorial Day. You can make note of that. And of course, well, I don't want to steal the thunder for firefighters are here. Right, though, the chief. Well, I'll let you talk about the fish fry coming up. I won't, I'll leave that. What's that? Oh my God, I've gone to the fish fry every year. Have I ever gotten a fish dinner? No, because the line is always too long. One of the things that I started, so if you want to support me on this, you can, but this is where we do 1 PS at the ballpark with the power. That is coming up June 13th at 7 p.m. I will be there and I'll let you buy me a cold adult beverage.
You gonna throw the first pitch again?
No, I did it once. I think we have you signed up, Jeffrey. Just a couple.
No, actually, we just. I'm at a Dodger Stadium.
The public library is Juneteenth. The public library is also closed on June 19th. And we talked about the Short Fest that's starting June 24th through the 30th. Always a great event. And that's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you, everyone.
So we have I saw something about Restaurant Week. Is there?
Restaurant Week, and I'm gonna let Wayne talk about that because he also has his Love Local program for buying cards to help support restaurants. So when he comes up, I'll.
So this is related to groundwater protection. So one of the good plans that we have for projects north of the 10 freeway is a commitment that each one will hook up to sewer when it becomes available. And across Indian Canyon in Desert Hot Springs County, they have a brand new Mission Springs Water District sewer treatment plant. And I've been asking and speaking with some of the representatives and no one seems to know if the missing link is being discussed. That is bringing that line across Indian Canyon to hook them up. So it's great to get a commitment that they'll hook up when it's available, but if there isn't conversation happening to make that possible, how do we change that to protect our groundwater? Because batch systems are just a fancy word for septic tanks, which leach raw sewage into our ground, which we have the most rapid percolation rate soil, which is sand. And when those nitrates get into our water supply, not only is it unhealthy, but also the nitrates can't be removed. There isn't process through it. Then it's not sellable water. So having all of these batch systems and septic systems are a risk to our groundwater. I know the Desert Water Agency's had conversations about it. Is anybody talking about making that connection across Indian Canyon?
No, and it's in Desert Hot Springs, or?
It is. It's just been finished. It was a $20 million project owned by Mission Springs Water District. It's right next to their new Amazon logistics center, warehouse distribution center. So they're going to be connected to it because they're not on the west side of Indian Canyon. They're on the east side. Everything on the east side of Indian Canyon is.
And it just, and it stops just short of Palm Springs, right?
It doesn't go across the street to Palm Springs.
I'm certainly willing to have a conversation with my counterpart, the city manager at Desert Hot Springs, and ask her if they have any plans to make those final connections. And I know you and I have talked briefly about this before, and Desert Hot Springs has a new interim city manager, but I know her. Doria Wilms is her name, and I know her well. And I don't mind calling her and seeing what they might have, and maybe there is something long term that's planned to do that, do their own capital program, but with Mission Springs. But let's connect after that, and I'll follow up for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Our speaker tonight is on more city topics. Wayne Olson is going to talk about the update of the convention center and apparently a lot of other things. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity to speak again. I always enjoy coming to this meeting. There's so much information that gets shared. I was scribbling down notes quickly if there's anything that needs to be addressed in my presentation. Denise is going to help me get my thumb drive going here. That's it. And we're going to start off talking about, economic development. Classically, economic development is business retention, expansion, and recruitment. That's really what Dean and I do on a daily basis. So retention, expansion, and recruitment. But as you think about the economic development equation, is there a clicker, or do I stand up here? Oh, guess the fonts aren't working. Well, we'll see if the fonts work as we move forward. So the, that's gonna be a little tricky. Oh, something happened. We just advanced a bunch of slides. Hold, please. Okay. The mayor mentioned $3.2 billion in investment that's coming into our community. This number is $2.75 billion. His number is right because this number doesn't include $400 million of bridges and a bunch of other projects that are happening. So as we think about economic development in our community, it's a different equation that has to happen. We've got 46,000 people in our community. We've got a lot of visitors that come in and pay TOT and sales tax, but it's unusual for a community of this size to have this level of investment happening.
Where you're standing.
Where you're standing. So I just wanted to share that. And as we talk about budget, Dean and I's job is to figure out how to figure out sustainable revenue for our city. There's really about 7 or 8 line items of revenue in the city, 2 of which, maybe 3 that are easily adaptable. And by easily, I mean with some effort from economic development. The others are fees and are structured through the state. The first one is TOT, which is the bed tax, which our visitors pay when they come in and sleep in a bed in our hotel room.
We've got sales tax, which is another resource from our visitors and all of us locally here who pay sales tax. And the third one is property tax. So those are kind of the three areas of revenue that my and Dean's work focus on. And I'm going to share a little bit about some of the projects that are coming online. And I apologize, the font's not going to work, but I'll talk through it. So the first one that you know, next slide, Denise, is the airport expansion. $1.5 billion for this project. The FAA predicts that we'll have a doubling of enplanements from 3.3 million to over 6.5 million. So we've got that enterprise chugging away at FAA funding. Those CFCs and PFCs, those are charges you pay when you go to rent a car or you pay it on your airline ticket. So the airport takes those on, and that is a funding source for them. So those are the projects. The immediate ones are the baggage claim. I was talking to Harry, infrastructure and runway, terminal improvements, land side, which is the side that isn't the air side, and then planning environmental. I'm just going to shout. So a lot going on in that. And again, for a town of 46,000 people to own and operate an airport of this size and this capacity is unusual. So as we think about that and how we're making decisions going forward on what our projects are going to be looking at, it's important to keep that in mind. Next one is the College of the Desert. I think this is a great project. This is something that is really pretty impressive. This is a $405 million project, breaking ground right here in our neighborhood. There'll be a couple thousand students coming. I have an understanding, next slide, that there's a casino program, management program, that might be a 4-year program. There might be a 4-year architecture program. They're talking about something called mechatronics, which is robotics and some other things that can help our tourism and hospitality. And of course, we have a cuisine program and a hospitality management program included in that as well. So we're excited about that opportunity and what that's going to bring in those 2,000 students into our community. The next one, the Thompson Hotel, probably should clap about this one too. Finally, I've been visiting Palm Springs since 1999. I lived here briefly in 2013, and the fence was up for this that said it'll be done in the spring of 2014. And so remember those clocks that we all have where the numbers flip, you know? So finally, Craig Hall, who is the owner of this at Dallas, gentleman, really a wonderful person, plowed through, took it over, and got this thing accomplished. So that's 167 new rooms. Lola Rose is open. I hope all of you have had an opportunity to try that. Their new Mediterranean restaurant is going to be opening, or is open now. So that's 2 new restaurants that have come on the scene. I'm going to have Dean talk about Restaurant Week here at the end, Dean, surprise. So Thompson Hotel is great. Next hotel, Dream Hotel. I spoke with Lori Kibbe just last week. She's doing some value engineering. Her project was slated to be $250 million. It came in at $330 million, so she's got to find some dollars to reduce that. Her civil plans are being reviewed by the city, and then the city is also working on her plan review for the 3 sections of the property. So things are underway. She's doing some value engineering. She was pushing some dirt earlier this season, but I think we'll see a pause for a few months. She's still on schedule and still on time. We haven't been told otherwise. So we'll keep our eye on that. But that's 156 keys with the Dream product, which is a Hyatt brand. It's a higher end resort brand. And then 69 residential condos. Next one is the Orchid Tree, which I'm bullish on. I know some of you may not be. It's my job to be an optimist. I'm just going to grab my water here. Thanks, Scott. Mr. Weintraub has negotiated a new agreement with the city for a 66 key luxury product. He's mentioned Auberge. There's a couple of others that we're holding his feet to the fire on to ensure that that's a luxury product there. He's got a really interesting new pool design. The parking and the back of house, which is all the kitchen and loading, it's going to be underground, so it won't disturb the community as much. And the next milestone, as Jeff, Councilmember mentioned, is August 23rd for planning application submittal. And we're going to be watching him very, very closely. The council has directed staff to be deliberate and pay very close attention to his deadline. So the minute he misses one of those deadlines, he has to come before the council and tell the community why he's missed that deadline. So keep an eye out for that. Next one. So I just wanted to mention, of those 3 projects, 389 hotels, I estimate that's an additional $5.5 million of TOT on our revenue. That's almost a 12 to 13% increase in revenue. So as we look at how do we create our community, how do we pay for
police and fire and clean and good roads and all the services that we enjoy of a community of this size, these are the places where those dollars come from. So supporting these projects helps. Plaza Theater brings in guests from out of town. I remember back when I was visiting, who remembers the Follies? Of course, most of you do. There'd be buses up and down the street with people spilling out and buying things in our shops. And yeah, it can get a little aggravating to have that many buses and tourists, but those are the folks that are paying the dollars that help us sustain our community. So we're excited about this opening on December 2025, and we've got about 150 lit nights. So 150 events is what I'm being told by Oakview Group. So the next slide. So those are some of the highlights of where the city can impact our revenue structure in a way that helps us all have great parks, pickleball courts, and all the other great things that we enjoy. Just wanted to touch base. Denise asked me to touch base on the convention center. This is a substantial project, and about 125 million is where we're looking at right now. The convention center feasibility analysis called for updates and renovations. I don't know how many of you know about the Gaylord product out in Chula Vista. That's a big brand new hotel with a brand new convention center. We're losing a lot of our conventions to newer products in the area. Some of our conventioneers are saying, well, we'd rather not be there. We'd rather go to a newer, shinier place. So the master plan was put out in early 2024. That's something that is now looking at getting implemented. And the way we're doing that, in January, the mayor asked the city manager to move with lightning speed at creating a task force. It wasn't supposed to be called task force, a working group that was going to help manage this process moving forward. We're at the very, very early stages of this, and we want to have a full communication and a full process of visiting with all of the community about this. It's going to take years, so we're just at the very, very early stages of this. But I wanted to share this convention centers are economic engines. You have to think of them as generating revenue for the city. Every conventioneer spends approximately, and this is a measure, about $2,000 per visit. If we get 55,000 people through that, that's $110 million of local spending that occurs. And that's at 50% occupancy right now. We can double, if we can triple that, that's about 30% up to about 65% occupancy with a new east entrance. You go to the next slide. New east entrance, new lounge areas, all those things that you experience when you go to a newer convention hall that everybody likes to have. Again, I'm sorry for yeah, you can scroll through these. Some ideas, and again, these are very, very preliminary. There's no design out yet. These are just ideas and concepts to get people thinking about this. So it's about $100 million worth of improvements at the convention center, and then we're ballparking 25 to say 30 million for the connectors. One thing that the master plan called for was when you come out of the front of the convention center, it's beautiful, beautiful vista and beautiful view, but it's hard to know where to go to downtown. There's nothing in front of you that would indicate where you go. Now, you could say, well, that's silly. Of course, you just go down a couple blocks. But if you're new to a city and you're not sure which direction to go, that can limit your ability to go downtown. You might just get in a cab and go back to your hotel. So we're going to work on connecting the convention center to downtown with street improvements, linear parks, artwork, helping people get there seasonally so we can extend our season a little bit longer. June, July, August, it's tough to get conventions in here because of the heat. We can have some shade, have some ability to direct people to downtown to start spending their money in our community, all the better. So this is something, I did a quick estimate. If we capture 10% of that revenue annually, the payback on this is 10 years. So about $10 million in taxes per year. We would probably pay this back in 11 to 12 years rather than 10. So big, important factor for our community to continue raising money and having those people come in and spend dollars in our community. Next slide. So these are ideas and just images that Denise asked me to share some of these. The council has seen all of these in the presentation. Again, these are conceptual. You move to the next one. Looking at the interior, some of the improvements, brighter, lighter, think windows. Convention centers aren't what they used to be anymore. They're much, much different. And so some of the additions, next slide, include an east entrance, which means we can double load the convention center. So you can have conventions, two big conventions going on at the same time. One more slide. And then an outdoor area here, which currently isn't programmed as much, but we could probably look to program that as well. So again, looking at ways to raise revenue for our city so we can enjoy all of the benefits that we experience. Yes?
Is there a plan to
use the space behind the convention center on the east side?
So the east side is part of this conversation. We've hired David O'Neill of Conventional Wisdom and Daily Strategies, who some of you may know. They're working with the stakeholder groups, putting working groups together. We've got a community of stakeholders that are really invested in this, our hoteliers, our restaurateurs, our retailers. And so they are helping us understand what impact that needs to be as we go forward. Tell me your question again, I'm sorry.
The lot, the space
Oh,
behind.
so one of the elements that Conventional Wisdom is proposing is an updated master plan, which will look at the east lot, which is the parking lot, where there might be a need for an additional hotel. Right now, what we're finding out is that in order to have a large convention, larger than say 1,800 people, you get spread out across a bunch of different hotels, sometimes in Cathedral City. So who likes to do that? Nobody. When you go to a convention, you want to be with your colleagues and your friends and enjoy the convention. So we're looking at the possibility of the need for another headquarters hotel on the east lot. But again, this is all very, very early. There's a lot more process to go. There's a lot more feedback. We're going to be having design charrettes. You all will see this many, many times. Opportunities to communicate with the city, tell us your ideas, think through what would be going forward. You know, talk to your council members about your support or not for this project. But again, $2,000 per convention year per visit. So we get about 55 to 60,000 visitors a year in the current facility. That would go up with our new facility. So something to take a look at there. Let's see, let's go to, so my economic development strategic plan. You all remember Adam and Uday that were here talking about the strategic plan. Go to the next slide. We hired them in October of 2024. They've been doing data analysis. They've been doing primary stakeholder initiatives with the mayor and the council members and our key members in our community, and have completed most of the work. And now we're in a public review process. So we're going to ask all of you to help us understand how we make decisions about these things. What are my priorities going to be? What are Dean's priorities going to be? We're asking the community to help us think through that. So the way this is formatted is we have principles, which are 5 principles. I think we can go to the next slide. Yeah. Expand the city's economic development capacity. So that's the first principle. Second one is reinvigorate the business climate. So that's some of that retention language there. And bolster existing industries, again, retention and expansion. Seed and nurture emerging clusters. That's the attraction. What can we attract to our community to help that sustainable revenue? Love the tourism and hospitality. It's our golden goose, right? It lays the golden egg. But we need to get a little bit more sustainable with our revenue so we don't suffer when Canada doesn't want to come here anymore, or international tariffs keep people from, or fear keeps people from wanting to travel. So broadening our economic base is going to help. Strengthen community assets and infrastructure. Again, that's everything we've been talking about. And so my job is to help try and figure out how to make those revenues go. Let's go to the next one. Sample initiatives. Oh, you did already. Thank you. Launch economic development. So principles are the big goals. You've all done strategic planning before. These are initiatives. The initiatives are launch economic. Some examples. There's about 25 initiatives and then another 10 actions. So you end up with about 200 actions. Hopefully they won't all fall in the same year. Christine and I are going to be a little overwhelmed if that happens. But like launch an economic development marketing program. How do we help our local diners, our local restaurateurs, our local retail? Dean and I have the Love Local program that Dean's going to talk a little bit about. We're going to be doing that again in the summer and supporting and making it a little bit longer and adding a few more dollars to that. It was successful last year. Establish former business districts. Again, something else we're working on. We now have a map of 13 business districts. And by the way, this 1PS structure is the model for our business districts. It's so successful. Denise and I have talked about it. She sits right across the hall from me. And you all started in what, 1968?
Well, the first one was formally 20 years ago.
Yeah, and so if you think about where we are with our business districts, we have a few years to go until we get to this level of organization. But this is what we hope to accomplish with our business districts. Build out the Palm Springs Convention Center district. Again, those are the connectors, making it more of a destination. Build a robust technology ecosystem. This is a big piece of what we're working on right now. We have a tremendous amount of technology experts in our community. We have former executives from all of the big companies. We have people that the Bay Area to come down during COVID and just stayed because they loved it so much. But they're remote work from home technology experts. we have people coming to our community to do that. So we want to help support that and invigorate that. I don't think we're ever going to be the home of Google or the home of Facebook, but we can certainly help our technology community come together and be networked. And the event that the mayor and Jeffrey spoke about in June 23rd is an opportunity to do that. And then just a sample, improve walkability. You know, we would all love to walk. I walk from City Hall, a couple blocks to and it's hot. There's no shade trees, you know. So, and it's what, 85 degrees and it's still hot. So we want to think about ways we can improve walkability and make that better. So these are all things that economic development touches. So what we need from you, and what I'm asking for you today, next slide, and I'll leave this up a little bit, is a residential survey. Yeah. So if you all take out your phones and take a shoot of that QR code, that's a residential survey that you're going to be walked through as you, it's about 60 questions, so it's long, but we need your input. And tell your friends and neighbors, and tell your community organizations, and tell your neighborhood organizations, and tell your neighbors that we need responses to this. This is the opportunity to have your voice heard in this entire economic development process. So please do that survey, answer the questions, tell everybody about it. We're going to run some ads in the Palm Springs Post, and the Desert Sun, and a few other areas for this. Next one is, if you're a business owner in town, you get a second survey. So if there's any business owners here, this is the business survey. It's different than the residential. Obviously, there are different types of questions. So again, just contact me or Dean for those survey opportunities. Yes, there's a question.
Yeah, hi Wayne. Will you have an alternative to a QR code? People in my complex don't use QR codes. And if there's a website that they could go to or some other way to access it, it would be very helpful.
Absolutely. And in the press release that's going out, you'll see links. Just email Dean or I, and we'll send you an actual hard link that you can click on to go to that website. So that's a great question. If you have other needs, other accommodations, let us know. We'll be happy to do that, Dean.
It's also on Engage Palm Springs as well, the survey.
And I'll be sending it out with my newsletter this week. Oh, that's good.
So that's the presentation. I'm happy to take questions. Great question on the Racket Club site. Happy to try and answer any of your questions. If I can't answer them today, I'll give an answer for you in a couple of days. So, Dee, do you want to talk just a minute about Restaurant Week?
Sure.
And what we're doing with that?
How many of you have participated in Love Local this past summer or over the holidays? Thank you very much. We teamed up with Greater Visit Palm Springs to help them promote Restaurant Week here in Coachella Valley with Love Local. We had some funds left over from our holiday program, so we decided to do it for the week of May 30th through June 8th is Restaurant Week here in the Valley. With Love Local, the promotion, the press releases went out yesterday, great response, not only here from the media in the Valley, but also Greater Los Angeles and San Diego. Tickets are the cards. They go on sale. Do not go on lovelocalps.com right now. They go on sale this coming Monday. So if you buy a $100 card, you get a $50 bonus city card that you can spend at any of the 37 restaurants that we have on our site or any of the businesses. You have until June 8th to spend that city $50 bonus card. You have until June 8th to spend it at any one of those participating businesses that are listed on the website. So please, May 19th, Monday, 8 a.m., go on the site, purchase your card on that. Any questions? I don't want to stand next to that.
Yeah, this is another one of these programs that these dollars help us do and help support our local restaurateurs and our local retail. We had tremendous feedback from summer. Our retailers and restaurateurs said we want to do it again for this summer. So Dean's going to run the program a little bit longer, 3 months this coming summer. We've got some a couple other fun ideas for the summer that are coming up. But Restaurant Week, we've got some remaining dollars left, so get in there and buy those. Look, it's free $50, right? You spend 100 to get 50. That's a pretty good deal, I think. So go out and have a bottle of wine and a nice meal at one of the local restaurants.
So the link to this will be coming out on Monday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you need a question, contact Dean. I'm sure you know how to get a hold of him. If not, contact City Hall and we'll be able to get to you.
And the $100 card that you do purchase will go on for over a year. That you can use it in on a daily basis. The other thing that's coming up with Love Local, and hopefully it will happen starting on Monday, is we got a lot of calls that they would like it so it goes on your mobile phone, that you can tap in your wallet and you can tap. So that's coming as well.
Cool.
So, but your $50 bonus card expires on June 8th.
Buy your cards.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
See if I have better luck with the microphone.
Okay.
Okay, 20 minutes and counting, so we'll go to police. Lieutenant Araiza.
Yeah, fire chief, Chief, did you want to get up there?
No, go ahead, you guys, go first. Warm up the crowd.
You're alphabetical.
All right, so, in preparation for this meeting, I spoke to my assistant. I didn't really think we had a lot going on. And after Siri collected everything, it was like quite a bit that was going on. So we just got done assisting India with Stagecoach Coachella, and while that was going on, this was like 3 weekends of events that we're assisting with. We had our own stuff going on here in town. So we had pool parties over at the surf park. And then additionally, we assisted with the tribe. They had their 30th anniversary celebration. Had 2 organized protests that we had personnel members out with. And then we also had an event at the convention center. I don't know if you all follow us on social media, but Chief, sat us all down. He goes, hey, we need to plan an operation. People are driving way too fast in the city. We kind of brainstormed for about 5 minutes and came up with Operation Talladega Nights. So if you want to do the Ballad of Ricky Bobby, it was funny because who's the actor in that movie? Thank you, Will Ferrell. So one of our team members actually ran into him at Coachella, so they got a picture. So we got his permission to use the title for the operation, and we got out there. I think I've expressed to everybody in here that on Wednesdays, half the department's working, while the other half is either training or doing an operation. So I think it was about 30, close to 40, because we did pull our detectives, our traffic unit to get out there, 30 to 40 of us, and we hit we did it in increments. So the team broke up, hit 5 hot spots, and really my team was on Ramon Road, and you literally saw a line of people getting pulled over down Ramon Road. So 234 warnings or citations were issued. So I think the message got out, but granted, I think the next day I had somebody pass me doing about 15 over. A couple incidents that did happen. The Chabad apparently got some threats, spoke to the rabbi over there, gave me the information, threats against the Chabad itself, against the rabbi and his son, and that led to an arrest. So actually, arrest was made based on hate crime and terrorist threats. So we're able to follow up on that. This is where, when we talk about technology can be important. So let's talk about the FLOC system, the automatic license plate reader. So during the first Coachella, we got a call from Cathedral City, and they were getting basically a terrorist threat. There's an individual that was threatening to go to the event and bomb it and shoot it up. Whoa. So they had information on the vehicle this gentleman was driving, and it hit in our city. So the day we were doing that World Art Fair at the downtown park, we were getting hits that the vehicle was in town. So officers were able to get behind it. Wow. It evaded us for a little bit. We called off the pursuit because the person was driving too unsafe. And we're able to locate the vehicle and found the individual walking away from it. Wow. Got a bomb dog out there. The bomb dog alerted on the vehicle, but fortunately, after calling out the bomb squad, nothing was located. But we were able to get that gentleman packaged up, handed him over to Cathedral City, and he was arrested.
Yeah.
Wow. And then you might have saw this on the news or on social media as well, but 22nd, we got a call over at Vistachino and Sunrise. This gentleman, he was there on private property, didn't want to leave. Our officer showed up, tried to interact with him, didn't want to go with the program. We go to put hands on, basically arrest him for trespass. And during that incident, when we put hands on him, the gentleman we didn't know had a like Swiss Army knife in his hand and slashed at the officer and caused a significant laceration. And this is really an incident where you're trying to deal with this individual and you see blood flying
going everywhere, and then realize it's your own blood, and this officer was able to remain as cool. Really what got his attention is when the officer pulled the taser out, put the LED or the laser on him, the guy gave up, laid down on the ground, instructed the other officer to arrest him, and then after that, the staff at the location helped out, provided first aid. We got fire out there. Thank you very much to help us with that. And we got the officer, he got treated, and hopefully in the next coming week, he'll be out on the streets with us again.
Please give him our best.
Thank you. Thank you. Another significant kind of incident is our special enforcement unit was following up on, we had like several incidents of tagging going on, and this is like a tagging crew. I know there's graffiti, but then there's like people that do slapping tags or just tag like monikers that are part of a larger crew. So this investigation led to developing or identifying 5 suspects that were hitting our city. They probably did about $10,000 worth of damage. There was 20 cases that were related. Then they ended up doing a search warrant and took all 5 guys into custody. There was 5 different simultaneous, 5 different search warrants at the same time, sorry, tongue-tied, and basically had the assistance from other agencies. And during that search warrant, we located several guns, some of which were stolen, and assault rifles. So it was good work by that team. And then recently, just some recognition, staff appreciation. Last time we were talking about dispatcher appreciation. So we had that week go on. I don't know what they do with like these weeks, but our animal control. So it was like kind of everybody was fighting for attention. It was Animal Control Officer Week, and then Dispatch Appreciation Week. In the same respect, the police department got the Outstanding Community Service Leader Award from the Desert Business Association. So I'm thankful for that. And you guys seen our social media posts, or maybe heard on the street, our captain who'd been with us for quite some time. I think it was 27 years with us, 29 and a half total years in law enforcement. Mike Kovaloff, he retired last Wednesday. So we sent him out the door, and after he left, we threw a big party. Yeah, oh yeah, we'll be working on that. So, and then the other thing, just want to talk about, we got some good news. So we talked about, we're working on a real-time operations center. I talked about going to Beverly Hills, kind of seeing their model about doing a drone as a first responder. Crime goes out, we can launch, we can listen to 911 live, get the drone out. Their setup was a little different. They needed a visual observer on the roof. So it's basically somebody that just watches the drone fly around to make sure it doesn't impact like planes, birds, or any other thing that might be up there. So one of the things that we did, a different model, we wanted to do it without a visual observer. So we've been working with a company called Matrix Space and got a bunch of radar systems so we could see what the airspace looks like over the city. And we actually have 2 locations where we have these drones. One's on top of the convention center. So if you check out the news, KSQ, I think, did a story recently. You'll see the drone launch. And I did see that they were working on the Dream Hotel. So there was a lot of movement going on there. But yeah, they can be launched. And it's kind of funny because it's like a joystick or a controller for a video game. They can sit at a desk, launch it, just put in coordinates, and it'll actually go to that location and hover if necessary, or they could take full control and report back to law enforcement. So right now we're just still in the demo phase, but that's a big component of from that real-time operations center that's going to help us out later. So with that, I'll take any questions.
The officer injured during the Festival of Lights. How's he?
He's still recovering. Yeah. So. Yes, ma'am.
Are you working? I know People City had cameras up for one part, and they took them back down because people were upset that they were taking pictures of the cars. But there's so much going on with traffic right now.
Yeah.
Between, especially on Golf Club, Dinosaur, I mean, you name it. The turn near the Kabad.
Yeah.
Turn on Canyon. The other night, there was a car that was speeding. I swear they went 100 miles an hour. But there's nobody ever out there. Can't we put cameras back out?
Well, that's a different type of technology, talking about like basically speed cameras or red light cameras. And I think there's certain aspects of that that may pose an issue when it comes to, 1, privacy, but just 2, the enforcement of it, like who's driving, who's going to get cited. So it'll be one thing, I mean, when we're out there doing the operation with our traffic unit and our team, we had radar, but being able to get that information back, that's a challenge.
Because I know I know on Washington, the turnoff on the freeway from the town of Washington, they took their cameras down.
Yeah.
That brings in a lot of revenue.
And that's one thing, just to mention, these cameras that we're doing for the automatic license plate reader,
Yeah,
we've had a couple
of
of incidents where they've been vandalized. So I don't know why, but somebody got out there and damaged at least one. One was damaged in the collision. I mean, it's like a freestanding pole with the camera, and out of everywhere on geometry, that thing got hit. So, anything else?
Quick question, our HOA, we've had 90 days of no ability to get mail because someone took a crowbar to a box. And with police officer came to take our ring cameras and stuff, it seems that it's very common in the city, and most people can't keep up with it. And I don't know if that's something that you guys are looking at, but we had one visual, but it was at night, so we couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, I've had it happen at other complexes, so, yeah, and then one of the recommendations, it was like a repeated thing, is get some cameras on there to kind of document who's going to it. And granted, once they realize there's cameras, they're gonna mask up or cover up, it'll be difficult to see, but, not that it's related, but, we had somebody coming inbound 111 out by the, ATV rental area. They found a big bag, and it was a bunch of mail from somewhere in our city. So and it was likely one of those scenarios where they just hit a big mailbox, grabbed all the mail out of it. I guess they realized it wasn't value, or maybe they got spooked by seeing some lights behind them. We were able to get that back to the post office and get it back out on delivery. But unless we have a suspect or we're able to identify a suspect, it's somewhat challenging. The other area where we find it is when there's fraud involved. And a lot of times, believe it or not, some of these individuals come in, they use fraudulent means to rent hotels. And a lot of times if we end up at that location through a contact, we'll find a lot of personal identifying information, leading us to multiple victims because they're using identities to get credit cards, that sort of thing. That's it. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you. We have the fire chief. Nice to see you, sir.
I think Gus found the sweet spot right here.
Oh, the trick is not to grab it from the bottom.
Don't squeeze it. Squeeze the life out of it. Hey, good evening, everybody. Well, we've got Captain Skyberg and we've got Danny DeSalms here. So let's get to the most important thing, the fish fry. So I'm gonna have Captain Skyberg share some information about that.
Hi, everybody, how are you? Question for y'all. Who has Facebook here? Raise your hands. Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook. Okay, great. Who has Instagram? Okay, cool. If you guys could all pull out your phone, take a look at Facebook and Instagram right now, and take a screenshot of it. Whoever doesn't have Facebook or Instagram is probably wondering right now, what's this guy talking about, right? So pull out your pen and paper. We have fish fry coming up. Write down fish fry on a piece of paper. It's June 2nd, 6 p.m. It's $15 to get in. It's going to be delicious fish there. A bunch of firefighters, a bunch of city leaders there, and community members throughout. Good time, good music. We do it annually. It's our 92nd one, and it's going to be a good party. So, and if you do have Facebook and Instagram, make sure you follow Palm Springs Fire. That's it from us. All right. Go ahead, Dan. The dog's right here.
Okay, so as I think Jeffrey said it when he was talking about all kinds of stuff. Tomorrow at council, the city's emergency operations plan is getting adopted. Our last one is about 15 years old. It's over 600 pages long, and I'm probably the only staff member that read it. So we had a couple lessons learned from COVID, from Hurricane Hillary, even from the wildfires in LA. So we did a complete rewrite. It's now right about 100 pages, which is manageable for any staff member, and it's really our 30,000 foot view of how does the city respond to disasters. And some of the things that we took out of it, I'm holding a copy. There's actually tsunami on this piece of paper.
Never know.
I looked really hard to figure out like how much water would it take from Salton Sea to cause a tsunami here. I couldn't come up with it. So tomorrow night, a couple years worth of work is going to council for adoption. We're going to put it on Engage Palm Springs. Denise is going to do that. It's going to be posted on the city's website. So if you have an interest in knowing how the city's protecting you in a disaster, after tomorrow night and then the process of it getting through the city clerk's office, it'll be official.
Awesome, thanks, Danny.
Good job.
Good work on that. Excellent job. I just want to touch a little bit on, does anyone know the community risk reduction group here in Palm Springs that works with the fire department? Fire marshal, inspectors, they do kind of that work that, unsung heroes. And one of the things that they do is they go out there and they inspect every single hotel, motel, apartment building, condominium, and school in the city. That's over 700 inspections they do annually. And the reason they do it annually, and we report to council every year, we're going to report here this week, was after the devastating, does everyone remember the Oakland ghost ship fire?
Yep.
Deadly, right? Oakland resident over there. 2016, someone thought they had the great idea to make some money by renting out a vacant warehouse. Artists lost, you had people, and they started throwing parties in there. Fire department had been in there, police department had been in there, but no one ever did anything to stop that. So after that devastating fire in 2016, 36 fatalities, it's now required that I go into all of those residential occupancies and I report to council. And I just want to tell you, we did 100% of our inspections this past year, over 700. Yeah. So I couldn't be more proud of my fire marshal team and all the inspectors, and we're not immune from that. Last Thursday night, and I know it's kind of hard to see behind Smoke Tree, behind Ralph's, has anyone ever seen that 2-story building back there? It used to be a dental office and doctor's office. Well, we had a second alarm fire there Thursday morning. Yeah, fire started on the first floor, extended into the second floor, major structural damage. No one was hurt, but we have those same kind of issues here, right? People will find their way into those kinds of buildings. So important that we're getting out there and so important that we can respond when the fires do happen. So I'm incredibly proud of my team, but I just want to share that with everyone tonight. Any questions for us for the fire department? Yes, sir.
Yeah, we have one here. This is off the west side.
I recognize you.
And one of the things that we noticed with the new updated fire risk maps is one of the major HOAs in our neighborhood has been identified as one of the yellow zones. The only one in our entire neighborhood organization, which is the largest geographically in the city. And our chair, Ken, happens to reside in here a lot. And he and his neighbors are concerned about the impact of that. And is there anything they can do about getting that reduced? And it's really quite surprising that that would be, that HOA, a brand new HOA would be identified as a fire zone. Can you talk to that?
Especially when you use our water features to put fires out. Kind of struck us what happened.
Yeah, so that map came from the office of the state fire marshal, right? So that hadn't been updated since 15 years ago. And like I shared with you guys last time, if you were prone to fires 15 years ago, everyone received a very high fire severity zone rating. So when they redid these maps, City of Palm Springs, we expanded our area. Although our level of risk hazard has reduced, we did add more areas, and that was based on the state fire marshal's assessment of your possibility of having some type of brush fire. So if there's fuel around you, trees around you, some way, if you have weather, fuel, and topography, and you may have a fire in your area, you are now classified, being in the moderate zone, but you're now classified as you're prone to fires in your area. And unfortunately, as a local fire chief, I have no authorization to remove that or reduce it further from what it is. I have the ability to add more area if I needed to, because we do have the subject matter experts here, right? If they cut off in this block and they go, you know what, we've actually had more fires over there. I can add more area, but I can't reduce it. So I hope that answers any questions that you have on that.
the fact that it's a new and developing HOA that really doesn't have a lot of fuel anymore because it's been being developed over the last several years, that risk matrix would certainly have changed. Is there a way to get it addressed by the state? I know that there's a timeline according to Engage Palm Springs. Thank you, Denise, for constantly updating that. That is a wonderful resource. On there, you can find the maps, and it does say that there's a deadline to respond, but it wasn't clear how to do it and to who and what that process might be.
Yeah, so for the local area, as the fire chief here, we have a 30-day comment period for the residents. If there's any comments you have, and you're welcome to add that to the comment. If that's something that my fire marshal wants to move up towards the office of the state fire marshal, we could do that as well. But if you go on the office of the state fire marshal website and go under fire hazard severity zone maps, you'll see within there, there's telephone numbers to reach the state's office. And there's also email addresses and everything else. So if you want to pose questions to the office, you could do that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, please reach out if you need help navigating that. I know sometimes those websites can be, a little tricky to navigate. Please don't hesitate to reach out. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Eldorado Palms.
Hi.
Just a shout out. We do a lot of fire safety stuff and emergency stuff in our community, and we have a room now in our clubhouse that is set aside with a lock on it for all of our emergency supplies. We had a question about how the structure of the floods are things that we needed to charge. So I called Station 5, and they said, probably better call the fire marshal. Is it still Taylor Teeple?
It is still Taylor
I
Teeple.
called him and he answered the phone.
Oh, wow. And you never get that anymore. That's great. I love that. Thank you for that shout out. I appreciate that. I'll take them. And I'll pass that along to them too. Absolutely. They're cutting me off. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to talk about the South Palm Canyon flood control flood crossing at South Palm Canyon near Gilbert Trail. We had I think it was spoken earlier, I was at a doctor's appointment, so I couldn't be here. I just wanted to know that I'm in support of it, and I'm also hoping that you folks are in support of it too, because it's very important. We only have one way in and one way out of the Indian Canyon, and we need that when we close crossing very, very much.
Yeah, thank you for that.
We thank you for your work in the past. I think if you were all there at the Valentine's flood of 2019. I was the car that drove through because somebody took down the barriers. I had water in my car. I was 77 years old, and it was the most terrifying experience of my life. We don't want that to happen again, and we really appreciate the city working on getting this project done.
Yeah, thank you for that. I know we have some community meetings coming up that the leadership spoke about. Yeah, and I'm hoping to be part of that, but we don't recommend anyone drive through any type of water crossing. Yeah, we don't recommend that. And I rely on good roads, a strong network within the city for my people to be able to respond effectively and timely. So that's important to me. So thank you for that comment.
And unfortunately, the Zoom meeting is going to be on the same day as the fish fry. No, actually not.
On June 7th?
It's June 7th. I'm so sorry.
That's right, June 7th. June 7th.
It's a Saturday.
I apologize. I was seeing if you guys were paying attention. It's June 7th.
In Bristol, I got a report of a fire inspiring mobile home park, and the neighbors were smart. They called you guys. They got out there with the hoses to start. But thank you for containing it and taking care of it. It was an unoccupied house that had some interesting people living there.
Thank you for that. We've got the best firefighters here, so thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time tonight.
All right, running a little over now, but great meeting.
Sorry about that.
No, it's not your fault. Sustainability, are you in the house? We'll make up time. Desert water. Okay, we're moving along. Disposal, Palm Springs disposal. I'm looking over there because that's where they normally sit. Cosmo, do you have anything more? Denise, do you have a report?
No, everything's been covered by the time you get to me.
All right. Next meeting is June 10th. That's, yes, June 10th, our next meeting. Do your homework, look at the budget, and we'll talk about it. And any public comments that we haven't had already? All right, well, thank you all. I'll take a motion to adjourn as you walk out the door. All right. Thank you all.
Yeah. Sure.